Isn't it great seeing Huy Quan go from this to this?
Sorry, brother. Love hurts.
Also, am I the only one who thinks it's a huge missed opportunity that never once did he quote John Wick and say,
"But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back."
So Love Hurts is an appropriately Valentine's Day-centric action film revolving around the character of Marvin Gable, a highly successful real estate agent who seemingly has the perfect normal life. Gable, however, has a dark past he's running away from, but that all changes when a former flame, Rose, comes out of hiding and provokes his brother Knuckles, who happens to be a successful and dangerous gang leader. Howdy, I'm the guy with no name. Thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, show your support by liking and subscribing. I'm trying to get to 300 subscribers as quickly as I can, so I would much appreciate it. Love Hurts is the directorial debut of Jonathan Eusebio and stars Huy Quan as Marvin Gable, Ariana DeBose as Rose, and Daniel Wu as Gable's brother, as well as other talented supporting cast members. So let's cut to the chase. Love Hurts was not as good as I was hoping it would be, but also not as bad as I was afraid that it might be. So ultimately I was pleased with it. It's a fun action movie with lots of laughs and also lots of brutality. Sometimes that combination doesn't work, but most of the time, I'd say it does. You know, funny enough, when I was making this review, I suddenly realized that Huy Quan is becoming one of my favorite actors. Of course, we all know he's great in Temple of Doom and Goonies, but I've also loved him in some of his more recent work, like Loki Season 2 or this one. I also wasn't sure how he was going to be as a lead role in a movie, but he does great in this. He plays the action great, the comedy, him being a fun, more innocent type guy too at times. He plays that well. There's times he has to be serious, and he's very believable there. The problem is the people around him are not near as likable, and it's almost like they're in a different style of movie in a way. Like, I hate to pick on Ariana DeBose, but she has a very, almost like, she's kind of like a Catwoman-esque character, but she plays it even more exaggerated and more of a caricature version of her, where she's 100% of the time talking in this not real, inauthentic, coy and mischievous voice, and constantly kind of, you know, playing around with whoever she's talking to, but she's never vulnerable, not even with Gable, who she's supposed to, you know, they're supposed to have a close relationship with, and that's just the case for all the other supporting characters too, that they're all very hyper sensationalized, exaggerated characters of themselves, and it makes you feel like you're not in a real world at all. The fight scenes are well choreographed, though I have to admit, and it's not this movie's fault, but I am starting to get tired of these overly choreographed, over-the-top, drawn-out fight scenes, and I really much prefer the less choreographed, more realistic and more meaningful fights, instead of having action just for the sake of action. And another pet peeve of mine too is when every single character in the movie is really good at fighting. Like, for instance, Rose is super good at fighting, though it never explains why. Like, she's able to face like 5+ guys who are bigger than her, and she doesn't even need any help with that for some reason. And then I will say though, like I said, the fight scenes were well choreographed. There were some jokes within the fights that I thought most of them landed. I at least chuckled. And then also, I appreciated how creative some of the camera work was. Like, for instance, Gable's fighting these guys in a house at one point, and they slam his head into a microwave, and for the next 15 to 20 seconds, you're watching the fight from the microwave, including the revolving plate starts to turn. So you're literally watching the fight, and then it starts to revolve. And I was like, you know, that's actually really creative. I appreciated that. There's some little twists here and there that maybe you've seen really well choreographed fights, but the shots made it feel you know, different. But also, back to my point about it being super drawn out, I thought the fights were a bit too over the top, in the sense that by the end of it, everyone's beating the crap out of each other and then some, and somehow in most of the fights when there's main characters fighting, they're all able to walk away from it. And I'm just wondering, how in the world is that possible unless they have some like superhuman abilities that we don't know about? Overall, I did have a fun time with Love Hurts at the end of the day, and like I said, I loved seeing Huy Quan in the role that he was in, so I would rate it a 3.5 out of 5, which to me is a respectable level. If you see Nobody, I would say it's slightly below Nobody, but about in line with that, and not quite as high as like something like John Wick, but not as bad as The Killer's Game if you've seen that. But really, I would just say if you like movies like this and you're interested, go see it. If you typically don't like movies like this and you're not interested, I am not at all going to push you to see it because you probably won't like it. But yeah, that's my review. Appreciate you guys watching. If you like that, check out my review also on Wolfman if you haven't already, and be on the lookout for future content. This is the guy with no name, signing off.